This video is one of 3 in a series produced by the League of Women Voters of Bucks County, a nonpartisan, volunteer, grassroots organization. The other 2 videos are titled Register and Become an Informed Voter and Vote Safely in Person at the Polls. The League of Women Voters does not endorse candidates or parties. Our mission for over 100 years is to improve citizen participation in our country and to empower you, the voter, to exercise your constitutional right to vote. We appreciate the assistance of the Bucks County Board of Elections in the production of these videos. In 2019, several new laws were passed by the Pennsylvania legislature modifying how we can register and vote. In addition, here in Bucks County, we will have a new voting system. Added to that, we are in the midst of a pandemic, which makes many of us more cautious than normal. The League wants to ensure that you, the voter, knows what to expect in November, and we urge you to vote. Bucks County is launching a new elections portal, which will be updated regularly as things change to give information on changes caused by legislation or litigation, or to give updates on things like deadlines and drop boxes. Make a note, the general election is held on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November every year, and this year that is November 3rd. If you need to register to vote, or if you are not sure whether your registration is up to date, please see the League program, Register to Vote in 2020. This general election will not just be for the office of the President and Vice President. And please note, on the ballot, these appear as presidential electors. We will also be voting for members of the Pennsylvania Attorney General, Auditor General, and State Treasurer, and for the U.S. House of Representatives and a representative for the Pennsylvania General Assembly. Note that neither of Pennsylvania's U.S. senators are on the ballot this year. Senator Toomey's 6-year term is up in 2022, and Senator Casey's in 2024. Moreover, none of Bucks County state senators are running this year. In addition, Bensalem will have a referendum on the ballot. If you cannot get to the polls this year, or if you are reluctant to go because of COVID-19, you can apply for a mail-in or absentee ballot. These 2 types of ballots are basically the same, but to use an absentee ballot, you must provide an acceptable excuse, and those options are listed on the application. However, in 2020, Pennsylvanians, like voters in 29 other states, were given the right to vote by mail without an excuse. In either case, with or without an excuse, you must request a ballot, and this request must be received by the Board of Elections by 5 p.m. on the Tuesday before the election, which is October 27th. While this is the official deadline, voters are urged to apply well in advance, the sooner the better, to allow time for you to receive the application, mail it in, have it approved, and receive your ballot, and then return that voted ballot by the end of voting on Election Day. To expedite the process, you may apply for a ballot online at votespa.com or at the Board of Elections website. Don't wait until the last minute to apply. When the Board of Elections receives your application for a mail-in or absentee ballot, they must confirm that you are a registered voter by checking your name and address, your date of birth, some form of identification, such as a driver's license or social security number, and your signature. If you apply online, the Board of Elections will use the signature on file with the state, either from your Pennsylvania driver's license or your Penn.ID, which they will match against the signatures in the poll book. If you have neither of these forms of ID, you must either complete a printed application form, sign it, and mail it to the address provided, or you may enter the last 4 digits of your social security number and upload a signature. If you fail to submit appropriate identification, you will be sent a notice that proof of identification must be provided with your mail-in or absentee ballot, or the ballot will not be counted. If you include your email address when applying to vote by mail, you should also get emails notifying you of changes to your ballot status, or you can check votespa.com/ballot status. And you can always call the Bucks County Board of Elections to check your status. Note, however, that the ballot tracker may be off by a few days because of how the data is entered. For example, When you request a ballot, it won't show up in the tracker until the application has been processed. The date listed for your ballot request is actually the date your request was processed. That can be off by several days, depending on how long it took before county officials got to your request. Similarly, your ballot may arrive at county offices, but not be scanned in for a few days. Ballots will not be mailed before late September, depending on when the information on the ballot is finalized. Court challenges can sometimes delay the printing of ballots. If you apply for a mail-in ballot after that time, it will take a few days for your application to be processed and sent out. The sooner you apply for a mail-in ballot, the better. What if you lose your ballot or it didn't arrive? You can ask the Board of Elections to send you a new one and void the old one. But remember that you cannot vote on the old one if you find it. Or you can go to the polls and vote in person with a provisional ballot. Or you can vote in person with an in-person mail-in ballot at the Board of Elections office in Doylestown, or at one of the county satellite offices in Quakertown or Levittown. Once you receive your ballot, it is best to return it well before Election Day. To complete your mail-in ballot, mark your ballot with a ballpoint pen following the instructions, filling in the oval next to the name of your chosen candidate. Place your ballot in the secrecy envelope and then put the secrecy envelope into the official return envelope. Be sure to sign the declaration on the back of the return envelope or your ballot may not count. The return envelope is postage paid, so no stamp is required. The law requires that your ballot must be received by the close of the polls on Election Day. The state Supreme Court has ruled that ballots postmarked by November 3rd or with missing or illegible postmarks should be counted if they arrive by Friday, November 6th. But it is best to mail your ballot well before Election Day to ensure that it arrives on time. Alternatively, you may deliver your ballot in person. You may drop off your completed ballot in the official envelope with your signature on the back at several drop box locations around the county. The county is providing drop boxes at 3 locations in Upper, Lower, and Central Bucks, where voters can deposit their own mail-in or absentee ballots up to the close of polls on Election Day. Drop boxes inside these locations will be available 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday from October 5th through October 26th, and during the weekdays prior to the election from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Drop boxes will be available on the weekend before the election from 12 noon to 5 p.m. On Election Day, the boxes will be available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can only hand deliver your own ballot. You may not deliver your spouse's or anyone else's ballot. The boxes remain under guard throughout the day and are secured with video surveillance overnight. Each voter who has applied for a mail-in ballot is identified in the poll books and may not cast a regular ballot at the polls. Those whose ballots have arrived at the Board of Elections by 3 days before the election will also be noted in the poll books. If there is no record of the voter's ballot having been received, he may fill out a provisional ballot, which will be counted only if no mail-in ballot is received by 8 p.m. on Election Day. The provisional ballot will be held until all mail-in ballots are counted, and it has been determined that no other ballot from the voter has been received. This prevents anyone from voting twice. The Pennsylvania Department of State has issued strict guidelines for the design, construction, and placement of drop boxes so that they cannot be moved or tampered with. Because each ballot placed in the box carries the voter's individual identifiers, including their signature, it is not possible to stuff the ballot box with phony ballots. Ballots will be under the guard of county sheriffs at the satellite offices and security officers at the county administration building. Ballots will be emptied and returned to the main Board of Elections office every night. A series of seals and signed forms will be used to verify chain of custody from opening of the box to return of ballots to Doylestown by sheriff's officers. If you would like to vote by mail in all future elections, you may ask to be placed on a permanent mail-in or absentee voter list. If you are on either of these lists, an absentee or mail-in ballot application will be automatically mailed to you by the first Monday in February every year. Upon receipt of your application, the county will send you ballots in the mail for all the elections that take place that year, the primary, the general election, and any special elections. No ballots are automatically sent to a voter without an annual application. You must submit the ballot application every year to remain on the list. This ensures that ballots are not sent to people who have moved or died. Remember, there are multiple steps to voting by mail. You must request and complete an application for the ballot or complete one online. Once you receive your ballot, sometime after late September, you must complete the ballot, place it in the secrecy envelope, place that secrecy envelope in the official return envelope, and sign the return envelope. Return the ballot envelope so that it arrives at the Board of Elections no later than 8 p.m. on Election Day. If you are sent an absentee or mail-in ballot and the county receives your voted ballot by the deadline, which is any time before 8 p.m. on Election Day, you may not vote at your polling place. You may check on votespa.com or phone the Board of Elections to confirm whether your voted ballot arrived. If you requested a mail-in ballot and did not use it, you may take that unused ballot to the polls along with the secrecy envelope and the mailing envelope, where the judge of elections will void it. You may then sign in at the polls and vote in person. If you do not have the secrecy and outer envelopes, you will be required to vote using a provisional ballot. If you requested a mail-in ballot and you mailed your ballot too late, or you aren't sure whether the county received your voted ballot in time, check to see if it arrived at www.votespa.com/mail ballot status. If it didn't arrive, you may cast a provisional ballot at your polling place. If you were sent a mail-in ballot but your polling place has no record of having received it, you may also vote by provisional ballot. However, if the county does receive your voted mail-in ballot in time, that original ballot, not your provisional ballot, will be counted. Remember, you may always return your own absentee or mail-in ballot at the County Board of Elections office in Doylestown or at one of the two drop boxes in Quakertown or Levittown anytime before 8 p.m. on Election Day. And remember, you may not return your spouse's or anyone else's ballot. By law, counties are not allowed to process mail-in or absentee ballots until Election Day. However, the state legislature is considering a plan to allow election boards to securely begin opening and getting the mail-in ballots ready for counting a few days before the Election Day. 79,000 absentee and mail-in ballots were received by the Bucks County Board of Elections in the June primary. At least twice that number is expected in November. Consequently, the Board of Elections is taking steps to handle the volume of mailed ballots expected. They have purchased a mail sorter which can timestamp and sort ballot envelopes by precinct, a high-speed letter opener, 4 ballot extractors, and 10 high-speed scanners, each of which can process thousands of ballots an hour. There are several steps involved in processing absentee and mail-in ballots. First, the ballot envelope is scanned to ensure that it is from a legitimate registered voter, and the voter's signature on the envelope is checked against the signature on file in the poll book. At that point, that voter is marked as having voted, preventing duplicate ballots from that voter being counted. Ballots are then sorted into precincts. Next, both the mailing envelope and blank secrecy envelope must be opened, and the ballot must be removed, flattened, and stacked, ready for scanning. On Election Day, the stacks of ballots are fed into high-speed scanners that can process large batches of ballots at a time. Election officials can start counting mailed ballots at 7 a.m. on the morning of the election. Legislation is pending which would allow the Board of Elections to begin processing ballots before Election Day. Totals will not be tabulated before 8 p.m. on Election Day. And please be patient. Remember, it is more important to be accurate than fast. Our democracy depends on a secure and correct count in every election. The League of Women Voters would like to thank the Bucks County Board of Elections for reviewing this informational video for accuracy. For more information about registering to vote and voting in person at the polls, please see the other two videos in this series. For more information about the League of Women Voters of Bucks County, call us at 215-230-9986. And please consider joining us. Thank you.